And Mr. Balmerino does come in and meet with us. But as you know, the healthcare business are rising rapidly, okay? And he comes in with the bids, and Pauline looks at the bids, and they're all within that margin. We do monitor the other ones, and they come up much higher. So we do, this is a yearly thing, and that's the best we can get is 1 year at a time.
Mm-hmm. That's what spawns the question, is the escalating cost, obviously. And in the resolution, I'm paraphrasing, the township is determined to provide via the less cost and expense. So that's what prompts my question.
Product. But also, typically, this one is not on the consent agenda. Usually it is more of a discussion, but I couldn't believe that he was able to produce the bids at under 1% difference. So that's highly unusual. It had something to play with it. He did warn us. It might not be the same next year. So for this year, with that increase, I just went ahead and did it on the consent.
So it's 12%,
sure,
15% to 20% increase, depending on the year.
Okay, so the second place bidder was approximately 1% less or greater pay.
No, I am saying that compared to what we have last year, and all of the employees are satisfied with the insurance coverage, our increases are under 1%.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Real quick comment. Mr. Balmerino has been working with the township for many years. This is not his first year. And so I just want, he's very experienced with Addison Township.
Correct. And we do look, I mean, the fire department went out and tried to look for alternatives, and they came back and said, no, we're happy with Mr. Balmerino because they had exorbitant increases, if I'm correct, on some of their health care policies, right?
Yeah, correct. Real quick, about 2 to 3 years ago, I actually went out and looked at insurance prices as well. When I started explaining that we have a gap insurance and stuff like that, the brokers that I talked to said, that is the best price you can get, I'm not going to waste my time. So I feel very comfortable with Balmerino's quotes and what we got for the employees of the township and what we're paying for it.
And yes.
There's no other questions you asked. Were there any other questions? I didn't hear any. I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, go ahead.
We have that motion.
To approve the consent agenda as written.
Oh, I'm sorry, no.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as written with the modification of removing item H.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion, we have support. If there's no further...
Didn't you make the motion, Pauline?
It was for the agenda. I know, I thought the same thing, but no.
Consent agenda.
Got it. Okay,
That was mine.
the agenda.
No, but the consent, did I say approve?
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Ed Rayfield.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Roy Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Here, we move on to item number 2. I've got a lot of talking to do here, so just have a minute. Okay, these are the Special Assessment District public hearings and resolutions. Okay, we'll go on to 2A, which is a resolution establishing a Lake District Special Assessment District for Indian Lake Improvement Association with authorization of the date amendment to the interlocal agreement. Indian Lake Improvement SAD is for the purpose of improvements, maintaining the existing dam, dike, and control of the aquatic weeds and plants. The Township Board received petitions signed by more than 50% of the record property owners at 153 owners, 80 signatures at 52.3, and constituting more than 50% of the total land area proposed SAD. Proposed collection rate at $165 per riparian parcel and $60 per non-riparian parcel as defined by petitioners for a period of 5 years, including a 5% yearly township administration fee. Proper notice of the hearing was published in the Oxford Leader on April 28, 2021, and May 5, 2021, and the notice was mailed by first-class mail to each property owner within the proposed SAD. This SAD also includes the interlocal agreement, and authorized supervisor and clerk to sign the interlocal or the addendum as approved by legal. I'll open the public hearing on this at, we'll say it's at 6:10. If anybody in the public would like to comment on the SAD, on the Lake District Special Assessment District for Indian Lake Improvement, please just stand up and we'll hear what you have to say. I'll ask one more time if anybody would like to speak on the SAD, on the Special Assessment District for Indian Lake Improvement. Please speak. Not hearing any. I'd like to close the hearing at 6:11. Any comments from the board on this?
No, this is a renewal, and I'd like to make a motion to go forward with a resolution establishing a Lake District Special Assessment District for Indian Lake Improvement Association.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion, we have support. If there's no further comments, we have roll call, please.
Ed Wakefield. Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Lynn Garrett.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. We'll move on to item B, resolution establishing a private road special assessment district for Lakeview Drive, Grampian Court, and Kennard. Lakeview Drive, Grampian Court, and Kennard. SAD is for the maintenance of the private roads that may include grading, gravel, dust control, snow removal. The township received petitions signed by more than 50% of the record owners, constituting more than 50% of the total frontage of the proposed SAD located within the township, requesting the amount of $125 per parcel for each of the next 5 years and a 5% collection fee for the township. Proper notice of the hearing was established in the Oxford Leader on April 28, 2021 and May 5th, 2021, and has been mailed by first-class mail to each property owner within the proposed SAD. I'd like to open the public hearing right now. We'll call it 6:12. And if anybody in the public would like to speak on the SAD for these private roads at Lakeview Drive, Grampian Court, and Kennard, please stand and speak. I'll ask one more time if anybody would like to speak on behalf of the SAD on these roads. Not hearing anybody, I'd like to close the public hearing at 6:15. Any comments from the board on this one?
I'll move the resolution to establish a private road special assessment district for Lakeview Drive, Grampian Court, and Kennard.
I'll second.
Do we have a second? Any further discussion? Have roll call on that, please.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Ed Wakefield.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, resolution is so moved. Okay, we'll move on to item C, resolution establishing a private road special assessment district for Meadow Court. The Township Board received petitions signed by more than 50% of the record owners based on the tax roll of Oakland County, constituting more than 50% of the total frontage of the proposed SAD, requesting that the previously approved SAD established for 2019 through 2023 be rescinded and replaced with the proposed SAD in the amount of $1,000 per parcel for each of the next 5 years, winter tax 2021 through 2025 inclusive, for the proposed purpose of the road maintenance and common elements and a 5% collection fee for the township. Proper notice of the hearing was published in the Oxford Leader on April 28, 2021 and May 5th, 2021, and mailed by first-class mail to each of the property owners within the proposed SAD. At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing, and we'll call it 6:14. If anybody would like to speak on behalf of any of the SAD on Meadow Court, please stand. This is for the SAD on Meadow Court. I'll ask one more time. Okay, I'd like to close the meeting. We'll call it at 6:15. Any comments from the board on this one?
I'd like to move the resolution establishing a private road special assessment district for Middle Court.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion and we have support. Any further comments? Not hearing, could we have a roll call, please?
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Ed Rickville.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, that resolution so moved. Now, D, I think this is the last one. Resolution establishing a private road assessment district for Millsdale. The Township Board received petitions signed by more than 50% of the record owners based on the tax rolls of Oakland County constituting 50% of the total frontage of the proposed SAD, requesting the amount of $175 per parcel for each of the next 5 years, winter tax 2021 through winter tax 2025 inclusive, to cover maintenance or improvements and a 5% collection fee for the township. Proper notice of the hearing has been published in the Oxford Leader on April 28, 2021 and May 5th, 2021, and mailed by first-class mail to each of the property owners within the proposed SAD. And at this time, I'd like to open up the public hearing. We'll call it 6:16. If anybody would like to speak on behalf of the SAD for Millstand Road. I'll ask one more time. Anyone would like to speak on behalf of the SAD on Millstand? Not hearing any. I'd like to close the meeting at 6:17. Any comments from the board on this one?
I'll move to make a resolution establishing a private road special assessment district for Millstand.
I'll second.
And we have a second. We have a motion and a second. No further comments? Not hearing any. We have a roll call, please.
Yes. Ed Rickville.
Yes.
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Lori Fisher. Yes. Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. The resolution is so moved. You'll be tired of hearing me, won't you?
Second.
But there's no comment. Okay, let's move on to item number 3, which is the site plan review and resolution for Lakeville Animal Clinic proposed building addition at 3500 Lakeville Road, parcel ID 0519376007. The site plan review is before us. This was before the planning commission, reviewed by the township legal planner, the fire chief, and engineer. This is ready to move forward. I'd like to ask the applicant, Dr. Glidden, is he here?
Yep.
Yep, okay. Is there anything you'd like to address to the board on the project or anything?
No, I don't think there's anything I have unless anyone has any questions.
Okay. Well, everybody likes your veterinarian office there.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Does the board have any questions on this?
Yes, Dr. Glidden, I know I sent you the resolution earlier so that you were aware of what it was going to contain, but the last time out, we included that currently you're using the 2 sides of the natural feature as your landscaping. Are you okay with the verbiage?
Adding in the trees?
Pardon?
Adding in the trees or maintaining the border, is that what?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. I
Okay.
think we had a verbal on that last meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you. I thought he did a great job. All of the approvals are in. He's ready and set to go. The supervisor needs to, after the approval, you'll need to sign the agreement that legal looked over. So I'd like to move the resolution authorizing final site plan approval with the conditions for the addition to Lakeville Veterinary Clinic located at 0519376007.
I'll second.
And we
Look
have a
forward to
getting
getting
your
your building
motion.
permit and starting work.
Thanks, Andy.
Motion and a second. Any comments? Not hearing, could we have a roll call on that, please?
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Ed Rickville.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Resolution so moved. Congratulations.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, item number 4, lawn service agreement. As you can see, Sunrise Services, Calvin Does an outstanding job. You can see he was out there today cutting grass, which was really nice. He takes care of it, and he is a very reasonable bid. He's been doing that for several years. I do notice, though, that he says in his letter he'd like to be doing this for the next several years, but I think we have an agreement with him the next 6 years he'd like to.
No, we got a clarification. To be exact, the term would be effective June 1st, 2021, for 3 years, through November 30th, 2023, with 1 year option through November 30th, 2026. That's in the independent contractor agreement. So that's already in writing.
He does a cemetery also. Our cemetery is one of the most beautiful cemeteries around. If you haven't seen it, it's up on Greenham Road. Take a look at it. It's a very historic cemetery. We also have a Revolutionary War veteran buried up there. It was established in 1843, so look there and you can see his handiwork up there. But Sunrise Services has been our lawn service for many years, and they've done an extremely good job. Any comments?
One more real quick, because this is a continuation of the contract and professional services, do we need to waive the purchasing agreement, or just it's a continuation? I do not think we need to waive there is no purchasing. Is that right?
It's a contract, so if we want to play it safe, we can go ahead and waive the ordinance because it's a renewal and no benefit, or because it's a renewal, it's up to you.
It's a vote. I would make a motion that we waive the purchasing ordinance on this one.
Okay, then we need a second on that.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. So the motion is to waive the purchasing agreement. We can have roll call on that if there's no comments. Anybody have a comment? Okay, we have roll call on that, please.
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Ed Brightfield.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, now we can move on to the motion for the actual renewal.
Also move to make a motion that we allow Calvin Sotheby from Sunrise Services to take the project as according to his contract agreement, and stated the dates that I just issued, that I gave. Do you want me to give them again? Okay.
I think we have one. Okay, so we have a motion for the lawn service agreement. We have a second.
One quick question. Did they submit all of the support documents that they needed as far as insurances and?
He was awarded the bid for the cemetery a few months ago, so we have a current W-9 and current insurance policy, only because he just went through the process.
Okay, so we still need, we have a motion, we have a second on this motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a second by trustee Sargent. Okay, any comments? No comments? Roll call, please.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Ed Brightfield.
Yes.
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, and that is approved. We're on item number 5, planner, Rand Bowman renewal extension for 1 year. Our township planner requested renewal for 1 year. He asked that he had his option open to renew for 1 year and 1 year increments. I think he's getting older like the rest of us. I think he's not buying too much stuff in advance, okay? So he's doing it 1 year at a time. We enjoy him. He does a really good job. And by renewing, it does say the township funds as you go look at his prices. I think they haven't changed for how long? 2000?
He actually went down.
Yeah, 2005. So my recommendation is that we keep Rand Bowman for 1 year, but does the board have any questions?
I just like to add the planning commission seems to really relate with Rand very well. They were actually, the chair was actually trying to talk him into extending even longer, but he's very firm as far as one-year extensions. Linda's on the planning commission, I'm sure she can.
I can't speak highly enough of him. He's a great planner. Do you think he's gonna extend it again, or is he pretty much gonna be done after? I don't know.
He's kind of thinking that maybe one more time, but he's not for sure. That's why he's not going to sign anything more than a 1 year. He did say he'll give us 6 months notice if he decides to renew. And I said, no, just stay on another 6 months until he finds somebody. So it's really up in the air. I think he's just going to take it 1 year at a time.
Okay, so if he were to give us 6 months notice, that'd be time for us to send out RFPs for a new planner?
I would think so. It's going to be probably a long process because I think between planner, legal, and engineer, there are 3 very important factors in here. So we're going to want to do an interview process. It's going to be a lengthy process, I would imagine. And I would hope that he would maybe sit in.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
I have another question. But
Yes.
Has the question been asked of Mr. Bowman for recommendations for his replacement?
We haven't really got that far because he knows that we would like to keep somebody probably that's not in a big firm that wants big firm ways. So I'm hoping that he will help us out. And Matt, our engineer, is, because I've asked him if they offer that service through the engineering firm. They do not, but he did tell people in his office that we might be looking in, 2 years, 3 years from now. So we'll just have to take it as it comes. But for right now, I'm happy that Rand's ready to go for another year.
Well, as am I.
Yeah.
But if we wait 8 or 9 months to move forward with the replacement, now's the time to ask the question, which also alerts him that we accept. However, we also request your input. He's a valuable service. He's a professional. He is very high on my books of respect. He does an outstanding job, but also he's considering another year after this. I'm going to apply a little pressure.
We tried that at the last PC meeting. Anyways, he said that he would seriously think about renewing 1 more year, but this is all he's doing for right now, is 1 year, and he'll consider going again. And he said that he would give us 6 months notice if he did not, and I believe him and take him for his word with that.
Okay.
With that, I'd like to make a motion that we waive the purchasing ordinance as it is a professional service, so we don't require going out for bid.
I'll second.
Okay, any comments on that, leaving the professional service?
No, but I have another question, Mr. Chairman. I noticed in the contract for Mr. Bowman, the planner shall attend up to 4 trustee meetings per year at the request of the trustees and make periodic recommendations to the supervisor on updating ordinances every 6 months. Can you recall the last update he recommended to you on the subject of ordinances?
We haven't had any at this time.
The last one would be when the state actually changed laws, which has been quite a while. But when the state mandates a law, he'll come back and say that the state is changing planning and zoning rules and regs, so therefore we have to adjust, and then he'll go through the ordinance book and will actually tell us what sections are involved. As far as attending up to 4 meetings, those 4 meetings are included in his contract. For example, he attended the closed session that we had. So they're included without any additional fees. He will attend up to 4 meetings upon request. So that's what that's going for.
Well, I asked a question specific to ordinance review and recommendation. As we know, ordinances in the township are a very hot topic presently. So that's what spawns my question. Thank you. I yield.
Yeah, we just haven't had any new ones. I would understand that he would come in if we had a new one, but they've been in place for years.
In Rand's defense, Rand doesn't show up until we invite him to show up. And we've not had a reason to invite him. I agree. It's getting pretty close to a reason to invite him now. Did you have a second on that?
Linda seconded the motion to waive. I do will.
Okay, do roll call if we don't have any more comments on waiving the ordinance. Okay, this is for waiving the ordinance. Go ahead.
Ed Brickville.
Yes.
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the one-year extension of the Planner Rand Bowman's contract.
Second.
Any comments on that? Renewing the contract? If not, roll call, please.
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Ed Brickville.
Yes.
Lori Fisher. Yes. Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. And that passes. Now we'll move on to item number 6, is the Township Engineering Services, PEA. This is our engineer service, and as you saw on the board pack, Matt Hocking does our reviews, and it's quite extensive. Yeah, and our agreement is pretty much tied to Matt Hocking. I recommend renew the agreement with PEA, although the rates have a slight increase as Matt's title, Matt has given a promotion, changes, so do the rates. So most of the fees are in and out type, where the township charges for service reviews. If we need an engineer for other items, it's important to have a firm that offers a reputable person. I mean, there's a lot of firms, and then they send you a junior guy. We have a really good guy by the name of Matt, and he answered all of our questions, and I've been dealing with him since I took over in 2008. Any questions on this?
I would just like to say that, that I've seen a lot of engineering reviews, and these are really well done. He does a great job.
That's why it's tied to Matt. He's awesome.
Okay, do we have a...
I'd like to waive the purchasing ordinance as this is a professional service. Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support Treasurer Fisher. Okay, any comments? This is on professional services. Okay, roll call, please.
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Ed Brickville. Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, now I'm looking for a motion to extend the agreement.
Also move.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further comments? Not hearing any, we have a roll call on that, please.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Ed Brickville. Lori Fisher. Yes. Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to item number 7, the janitorial service renewal contract. Another agreement that is willing to renew. Last time out, there was only one company that responded for our request for a petition, purchase. He offers a basic cleaning service. This is another one I recommend renewing. It's very reasonable, as you see the prices there. I think the board has the prices, is that correct?
Yeah, 680.
Yep, 680 a month. Anybody have any questions on that?
I've got one. Is Mr. Bannister here tonight?
No, he cleans on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Okay, the question comes up is it's under Service Master Clean, but the actual name of his company is Revive. Do we make this contract to Revive, or do we make it to Service Master? I believe it should go to Revive.
I sent him an email and basically told him if the board approves to renew, upon renewal, I need the W-9 and I'm going to need his insurance. And that the checks and the agreement are going to be written to whichever one he produces.
So we would make a motion, service, what is it, service master and /Revive?
Or either one. Okay. it's gotta be
Depending
one
upon
or
what
the
he
other.
submits. And then he's going to have to submit it or it's going to come back.
Do we need to waive the purchasing ordinance
You
on
need
this?
to waive it because it's a renewal, no benefit, but I do have to add that I received a phone call today asking if the bids were going to be open. Whether we're going to get somebody that's going to be under 680 for twice a week, I don't know. Yes.
I would actually like to see this get tabled tonight.
I agree.
And,
Let's get all
long
the
talked
information.
about possibly looking at the work that's being done, and the rates are very, very reasonable, but I think maybe we should reassess our list of requirements and,
Instead of making a motion, contingent.
Well, I would like this defined a little bit better.
Yeah.
So if we're going to review the list, what's going to be the outcome? Are we going out for RFPs? Are we, because
I
the
would
list
say leave
is
it the way
fine.
it is, just have him correct the name, it's a correction.
Well,
Is that all you're after? though?
no,
I
I
don't
think what
so.
Treasurer Fisher is asking, are we going to go out for, I think you want
I'd like to see
RFP.
it go out for bids. I know we've had some calls with some people wanting to bid on it. And just see what comes back. It's a great rate, but sometimes, maybe it's not quite enough. Maybe we need to just see if we can get a reasonable price and, some of the things that people have complained about in office, rectify that.
May I suggest then, if the board is going to go down this road of going out for bids, that we need to actually extend his agreement, or somebody's going to be cleaning the building while we go out for bids.
How long would it take for an RFP to go through? Do we need to write it as a board, or would it be done administratively?
Well, that would be my next thing. Is everybody okay with the agreement and the RFPs? Mind you, they will be, his name will be removed, and then I would have to create a notice. So you would have to approve for the township to go out for an RFP, and then I'll have to put a time frame on it, and then it would come back to the board. So I would imagine the board's not going to get it probably until August. So we would need to extend his agreement, or we will not have a cleaning service. And he might say, no thanks, too.
What is this contract right now? When does it expire?
I didn't give you the old one, but I'm looking at the term of this one, so it starts June 1st.
Excuse me, you could extend it, ask for an extension of 69 days, include this person on the RFQ list. And
Yes, but we would need it for months extension. We have to advertise, we have to give time
Yes.
for reviews.
Understood.
So it's going to be for a few months
Understood.
if he accepts that.
Follow-up question is, you're in the offices every day. What's the level of satisfaction? Are you satisfied with the service being provided twice a week?
I think we're going to have a sticker shock when we come back. So it's going to be whether or not do we want it finger clean like this and pay, or are we happy with $680 and that we kind of pick up after ourselves a little bit as well? Because for $680, twice a week, doing this entire, it's $680 a month. He comes in twice a week. We're going to have a hard time beating that.
Well, I'm sure, but if the service rendered is equal to that amount of money per month to provide the service twice a week, are there spider webs in the ceiling? Is there dust collecting in the corners of the carpet?
Yeah.
Etc. So if the level of service is not satisfactory, then go through the process of bid.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're going to have, for his fees, he does a good job. If you're happy going out and paying more for the service, and then somebody's going to have to, do the policing as well. I'm done, so somebody needs to.
I'll
go
make a
forward.
motion to extend the current contract 90 days.
How long?
90 days.
Could we go maybe a little longer than that?
Yeah, if we need 6 months is fine.
I think 6 months sounds more reasonable, because it's a lot to look at.
Okay. I'm just asking if that's your motion. I think a little longer, to give everybody some time.
I would also ask that we obtain the correct information from the contractor and the insurances and the other documents that you said you needed.
Yes. I'll tell him that you're only going to renew for 90 days, and I'll give me all of that extra information and see what he
6
does.
months. 90 days is 6 months.
It's 6
Do we
weeks.
have a vacuum in the storeroom?
6 months, I do 6 months unless you want to give it to me for 6 months.
Will you tell us how much time you would like?
I think we can pull this off by no later than the September meeting. I didn't count how many months that is, but I'm okay with 6 months. So every 4 months.
That's 120 days, right?
Because I'll advertise it when I come back, so the advertisements will go out in July. We'll research it, I give everybody the bids. There's a slim chance it could make August, but I'd like that extra month just to be safe, so by the September board meeting, I would think.
Well, or we could extend the contract through September 30th.
Yeah, let's do that.
Is that your motion now?
Yes.
Extend it through September 30th?
I'll second it.
And you'll second that? Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Jim Garrett.
Yes.
Ed Rico.
Yes.
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Lori Fisher. Yes. Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, pass. Well,
Mr. Supervisor? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Please.
Oh, I was just going to ask, is that an agenda item to go out for RFPs, or how is that?
You will have to make another motion authorizing me to go out for RFPs for the janitorial service agreement. Preferably, you'll say using the established agreement and job specifications.
What she said, that's my motion.
And I'll support.
Say it again.
Diddle, is that, okay. So you do have a motion now
Yes.
to go out for RFP, and you second the motion. Any discussion on that? Okay, roll call please on that.
I'm still writing down what I said.
Take your time, Pauline. Everybody's waiting.
While she's writing, I've got a question for Pauline, if she can write and think at the same time.
I'm on roll call now.
Were we supposed to get a motion to not do a purchasing ordinance even for this?
I think we're fine because we're actually going out for RFPs.
Okay. Okay.
Don't you?
I think so. Roll call please.
Okay. Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Ed Rickfield.
Yes.
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, now we're on to the authorization of Kingsbury School and the Addison Township lease renewal. This lease renewal is from the original deed to the township that allows Kingsbury School to lease the property that houses the old one-room schoolhouse on the corner of Hopper and Oakwood. We updated the agreement so it's renewed every 10 years, not annually, as a matter of convenience. I think it's $50 per year, so 10 years is $500. Anybody have any questions on this?
I've got a quick comment, clarification. Just for the record, in the addendum, it specifies fully described Exhibit 1 property. If you look, it says Exhibit 2. That was a typo here. It should have been Exhibit 1 on that sheet.
So noted and corrected.
That's it.
I'll make a motion to authorize the renewal for Kingsbury School with Addison Township.
I can second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to extend the lease. Any comments?
I think it's more than a one-room schoolhouse nowadays.
Well, this is, if you understand, there's that little corner of that, the old original schoolhouse is on the northeast section. That's what we're renewing. And that's kind of our access to also to the cemetery. So, any more comments on that?
I wish there was a,
Pardon?
no, never mind. I see the legal on the last page.
Do we have a motion and a second? We have roll call on that, please.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Ed Rickfield.
Yes.
Lori Fisher. Yes. Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, now we're here for the hearing for the determination of the dangerous building hearing for 1849 Rochester Road. Is Mr. Daly here? Representative of Mr. Daly? And give him a packet. Nobody here for Mr. Daly at all? Okay. We're here now for the hearing for the determination of the dangerous building hearing at 1849 Rochester Road. The ordinance is Article 4, dangerous buildings. The parcel ID number is 05227-227-013. And at this time, I'm going to give the board a little update. The record owner is Daly Harry, Daly Harry, also known as Frank. The township on September 2nd, 2020 sent a notice of violation of condemnation on this date due to the extreme and hazardous internal living conditions. November 2nd, 2020, second notice of the violation of condemnation, citing the same reasons as the September 2nd. On September 2nd, condemnation structure enforcement entered into a BSA system known as EEN 200051. On January 22nd, 2021, the building official issued a notice for a dangerous building hearing for February 9th, 2021. There's a building official here. Could you, Deputy, could you just knock on the door and ask Doug Lowe if he would come in? He's going to be needed on this. On January 22nd, public official issued a notice for dangerous hearing for February 9th, 2021. On February 9th, 2021, a dangerous building hearing was held with Harry Daly, property owner, and Richard Daly, his nephew. Cosimo Lombardo as the hearing officer, Doug Lowe and Supervisor Pearson, whereas the property owner had the opportunity to be heard. On February 10th, 2021, a notice was issued to Mr. Daly with the findings of the dangerous building officer sitting at the hearing and sections 10-91 and section 10.91. The dangerous building officer goes on to determine that the structure is in irreparable state and to order the structure demolished within 60 days of the notice. Section 10-94B. On May 6, 2021, a notice for a dangerous building hearing with the Township Board was issued to Mr. Daly. Now we're at the Township Board hearing section 10-94D. The owner here, I'll ask one more time, the owner is here. Not hearing anybody. And if they were here, I would allow them to speak. The board tonight is faced with a difficult situation to determine if we concur with the finding presented by the dangerous building officer, the building official, and the property owner. If we concur with the findings of the hearing and building official, we would accept and move by way of motion to this board and accept the results of the dangerous building hearing process, and that we order the demolition of this building structure located at 1849 Rochester Road, parcel ID 0527227-013. Further, I move that we give the property owner 60 days from today's date to obtain necessary permits and demolition to demolish the structure in accordance with all applicable laws and regulations and local ordinances. If the demolition work is not done, the township shall undertake the demolition with the contractor and shall lien the property for the amounts expended and place the same amount on the tax rolls for this property to ensure that the township is made whole. Board members, do you have any comments on this?
I've got one quick question.
Yes.
I think the company name was it Atlas? What was the name?
That was the cleaning service you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
It said it was uninhabitable.
Well, if you notice in your packets, we do have some statements, and I'm going to let...
Well, my question is, we, in our building officials, that's what they're saying, but did Atlas send us a report, or could we ask that they send a report to us to put in the file, a written report?
There is one.
There is one?
Yes, I believe Is Mr. Lowe here?
Somehow missed it.
Oh, we have the one, I'm sorry, right in front of me.
Sorry, Doug.
I get your glasses.
Yes, there's a report in there.
Yes, there's a report in from Atlas. There's also several other reports that I'm going to let the building official speak about, okay?
Sorry about that.
Well, matter of fact, I'll let the building official, see, I've gone through the scenario of the times and dates and the things that are issued. Mr. Lowe, would you like to add anything?
What's that?
Well, we have two reports in the file from, one is from a licensed professional that was in our hunter pest control. And he stated the degree of infestation with fleas and maggots and flies and cat droppings and urine and trash and debris. I believe that's in your packet as well. We have another statement from the fireman who went in there, and what he saw, it's obvious that the house is beyond repair. I believe that's in the packet as well.
And I myself have been there.
My question would be, what happens to the lot after the house is eventually demolished? It's a very narrow lot. Does that make it non-conforming at that point, or is it still, would it be a buildable lot?
Oh, well, non-conforming lots are buildable if they can meet setbacks.
Well, if they can meet setbacks, and normally you're allowed to modify a house in the same footprint, but if the house is no longer there, I guess my concern is that would we be devaluing the lot in some instance? Or...
Can we hear you? We can't quite hear what you're saying.
My concern is generally on those non-conforming, very narrow lake lots is that you're only allowed to modify a structure and stay in the same footprint. But if the township has demolished the house, there is no footprint.
Well,
so
you have to understand, we're giving them time to do this themselves. We would go and take action if they don't, so they have an option.
Well, even if they demolish it, there is no, at that point, there is no footprint. So will the lot, if the house is demolished, be buildable?
The ordinance says that you cannot increase a nonconformity, but you can decrease the nonconformity. So whether the house is there or not, they wouldn't be able to do anything with the house as far as increasing the nonconformity. So if the house is not there, then if somebody wanted to build something, they would have to either get a variance for the setbacks or comply with the setbacks.
Our main issue here, though, is we have a dangerous building, and we're giving them time. They've had time to, they've had hearings, they've had notices. They can go forward and make a proposal as to probably rebuilding the whole after that structure is removed. There's still going to be footprints there, and they can come forward with that. That's their option. But the actual structure, I'll give you a little history behind, if you're all aware of what this house is. This is where the animal control went in and took out 50-some cats that were living in the house. And this is where a person died and was left in the house, I believe, for 40 days. And another person was living in that situation. The fire department has made reference to them entering it, had to put on hazmat outfits and everything. It was infested. There are statements from one specialty company that went in there, who happened to be a friend of the family, and was going to rehab the house, and he came out and said this was not, it could not be rehabbed. It had to be demolished. The cat urine and everything was into the actual wood, and the ceilings have caved in. The cats are in the attic. There's water in the basement. There's dead cats in the basement. This is a situation that it's taken us a while to go through the process, but it needs to be dealt with pretty quickly, and we have given them time, and it seems like there's no solution except for the condemnation. And that's where we're going. Now, they have time here. I'm going to read some more things here. But they do have time. We have not just said we're going to do this. We've given them options. And the last option would be for the township to do the demolition work. I would prefer that they do it, and I prefer that they come up with some solution, but the building itself has to be condemned and removed. So I'm just trying to bring you up to date on, we've been going through negotiations for a long time with these people.
I got a question.
Yes.
What you just read off about, it sounded like the perfect motion. However, I want to make sure that the time for rebuilding, remodeling, repairing is gone. It's tearing down. It's done.
Yes, it cannot be, that structure has to be demolished.
I just wanted to make
It's one of the
sure.
worst I've ever seen, and I was in police work for 30-some years, okay, and I would have to say that ranks up to the top 2 or 3, okay, and I've seen a lot. So I'm just, you know, the building official's been there with me, the hearing officer for the board has been there with us, you know, and when everybody who tries to go in there to say, oh yeah, we can rehab it, they come out and say, no thank you, I'm out of here too, you know.
I've got another comment.
Yes.
This is related direct to this gentleman right here. The patience, it sounds like Addison Township gave these people time and time and time again to do something. I think you've written 2 or 3 letters, asking them, please do something, and it was never
half a
done.
dozen, actually.
At least, and then, I mean, we're looking at stacks of papers, and these were appeals to please do something, and if we can't do it, then we'll condemn it, and they lived with that and said, okay, condemn it. They didn't say it, but that's what they ended up getting it done.
Okay, if I could, I'm just going to, our attorney says that we need to read a few things into the record here, just so if you'll let me just keep going, then we'll come back to this. On September 2nd, 2020, violation of the Addison Township zoning ordinance, section 1092, dangerous building prohibited, was observed on the property, okay? This violation consists of structure condemned this date due to the extreme and hazardous internal living conditions, a deceased body for an extended period of time left unattended, numerous cats occupying the structure, resulting in unhealthy environment due to feces, etc. Please be advised that you're required to bring this property into compliance within 10 days of receipt of this notice, so that was on September 2nd. And that was the second time that the first time we took 50-some cats out, the fireman attested to. The second time we went in with the dead body, he lost count at 20-some cats again in there. The actual cats were feeding off of the dead body, okay? So I just wanted to bring you up to date on that. So this is a very serious situation. Let me see, on 9/2/2020, structure condemned this date due to the living conditions and deceased body, unattended, numerous cats, and it was posted as a dangerous building. On that date of 1/27/2021. This is a township ordinance. Whenever, for any reason whatsoever, the building or structure or any portion is manifestly unsafe for the purpose for which it is used. That's item number 5. Number 7, this is section 1091 definitions. Whenever a building or structure used or intended to be used for dwelling purposes unsanitary or unfit for human habitation, or is in a condition that is likely to cause sickness or disease when so determined by the health officer, environmental consultant, or is likely to injure the health, safety, or general welfare of those within it. Section 1095, whenever, that's the exact same thing, but here on number 7, whenever a building or structure used or intended to be used for the dwelling purposes unsanitary or unfit for human habitation, or is in a condition that is likely to cause sickness or disease, when so determined by the health officer, environmental consultant, or is likely to injure the health, safety, or general welfare of this living within. The or part is what I wanted to bring up there. Okay, and then, I guess I'm supposed to read this. If the hearing officer determines that the building structure should be demolished, otherwise made safe or properly maintained, the hearing officer shall so order, fixing a time in the order for the owner, agent, or leasing to comply with this order. The township board shall fix a date not less than 30 days after the hearing prescribed in section 10-93 for the hearing on the findings and order of the hearing officer, and shall give notice to the owner, agent, or leasing in the manner prescribed in section 1093 of the time and place of the hearing. At the hearing, the owner, agent, or leasing shall be given opportunity to show cause why the order should not be enforced. The township board shall either approve, disapprove, or modify the order. If the township board approves or modifies the order, the township board shall take all necessary action to enforce the order. If the order is approved or modified, the owner, agent, or leasing shall comply with the order within 60 days after the date of the hearing. Okay, now we can go back. I want to make sure I got those into the record. We can go back to your question as to does it depreciate the property or whatever. At this point, that's not our issue. Our issue is we have a dangerous building, and I think we need to move forward on the dangerous building. They have 60 days to come up with a plan on what they would like to do with the building. So, any questions from the board on this?
I did wonder, would the homeowner's property insurance pay for the demolition?
That I have no idea.
Just curious.
Anybody else have any question on the board? At this time, only because this is a neighborhood issue, I'll ask, is there anybody in here that's of that neighborhood that would like to state something? If you would speak and just tell us your name and the address if you're a neighbor there.
Hi, my name is Tony Aubrey. I live at 1853 Rochester Road. We live next door to this subject property. We purchased it last fall. The previous owner, who was very kind to this couple that lived there, happened to pay to cut the grass for 5 years. So, because they wouldn't simply cut it. The house has never been maintained. It's infected with insects terribly. People that have gone in the building have to wear some type of special uniform because of the infestation of the building. Obviously, my wife, myself, my neighbors would like to see the house demoed last week, but as fast as it could go, we'd like to request that to happen. I do have a question, Bruce, regarding the 60 days. Is that past tense? Hasn't that been already?
No, that's when I think when the board votes here, he would have 60 days if, however. The board
60 days from today?
I would believe so, yes.
And then it goes for bid?
We'll give the owner an opportunity, then he can put the place up for sale and have it demolished, or he can make an agreement that it can be demolished by someone who wants to buy it. I don't care how he does it, but he can make any arrangements, but he has 60 days. After 60 days, the township will then take action.
Does he have a representative that has been in contact with your office?
There is a homeowner, and some of the neighbors do have that telephone number of the owner.
Okay.
I know some of the other neighbors have complained. I think Mr. Melodinsky or Tom, that's his name, he's complained too, and I think he has direct contact with the owner. But the township doesn't want to get involved in that. If there's people that want to help the man out or whatever they want to do, then we'll allow them to do that, but they have 60 days.
My other concern is the timing. Time is of the essence because of the weather is getting warmer on a daily basis now, and it's going to get bad in the summer. So
I agree, and it's taken this long.
I know.
The building official and I have worked on this for a long time, and I think it's finally come to a conclusion, but there's been many delays in this, not of our making, but anyways, thank you. Yes, go right ahead.
Joe Michael at 71 Peninsula Drive. I've been on the lake for about 40 years. Before I moved on this lake, I used to be 6'5". Then I was bored, now I'm 5'4". But anyway, the point I'm trying to make, we get violations, we get so much, they got to do it right away. We've been talking about this house for how long?
Last fall.
Since last fall. Now we got to wait another 60 days, and if you look in the windows today, there's flies in there. There's, I won't go in, but I'm saying to you, but I don't understand that. I mean, why it's going to take another 60 days? You've given them every opportunity in the world. If it was me, they'd put me in a garage and take me away.
I know, and the law works in funny ways, okay? We just have to follow the law, and we have to follow, our attorney advises us on the law. And all I can tell you is that and depending on how the board votes, in 60 days, the township will take action if it isn't done.
But the board could vote today to tear it down?
We would have to give them, yes, we would condemn the building, we give them 60 days to tear it down, or we will, correct.
So you're saying if you vote for that conditions, 60 days from today, it'll be done one way or the other?
Correct.
It doesn't get any more time?
Correct. Unless the courts or somebody else steps in, or who knows, I mean, I have no idea, but we're following the letter to the law right now, and I hope that we have what we need to tear the place down.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Okay, Mr. Bradshaw?
Okay. I move that this board accept the results of the dangerous building hearing process and that we order the demolition of this structure located at 1849 Rochester Road, parcel ID 05-27-227-013. Further, I move that we give the property owner 60 days from today's date to obtain necessary permits to demolish the structure in accordance with all applicable law, regulations, and local ordinances. If the demolition work is not done, the township shall undertake the demolition with a contractor and shall lien the property for the amounts expended and to place the same amount on the tax roll for this parcel to ensure that the township is made whole.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Are there any other comments?
Are all the utilities off?
Yeah, I was just going to ask that, thank you. Are the utilities off, Doug?
No, utilities, I think they're still on there.
They're still in.
That's not good.
Okay, any other comments?
I'd like to see those utilities shut off as soon as possible to expedite this process.
I think we
I concur.
have to go through that condemnation first, so is there any other comments on that motion? Okay, so we have a motion, we had a second. Who was the second? Okay, Trustee Sargent. If there's no further comments, we'll have a roll call, please.
Yes, Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Ed Brayton.
Yes?
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, that building is condemned. Okay, move on to public forum. Anybody in the public would like to speak? Thank you, Mr. Holden.
Thank you, Mr. Lawyer.
Didn't mean to wake you up.
It's hard at work, you know that.
So, does anybody have anything at public forum?
You want to
Okay, not hearing anybody in public forum. Addison Township reports. Anybody have any Addison Township board reports?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Mrs. Sargent.
May 13th, I attended a SISMA steering committee meeting. Addison Township was mentioned about the renewal for the 2021 RW right-of-way clearing fragmites. So and I discussed that. That was passed on to the board. They appreciated participation. Also, there is a observation of a new invasive species that currently are invading ponds, and that is the red swamp crayfish. Anybody who's been to Louisiana had a crayfish or a crayfish cookout, it's the same thing. Very invasive, they're huge, and the inland lakes are now being monitored for migration. So anybody has a pond, take a look. If you see a large crayfish, call the township, register it, and we would have it investigated for you. The second item I have is on April 24th of this year, there was a no-heads collection activity at the Oxford Middle School, and I worked that event. A couple statistics, just to update, there were 1,366 participants this year, which is approximately 300 more participants than in previous years for Addison Township. That's a 28% increase. Secondly, 73% of the attendees pre-registered. 27% of attendees had forms filled out at the event. That was up this year compared to approximately 18% last year, and 17% of those who registered did not attend. But there were still 1,366 participants.
Very good.
Also, looking at the building department reports, permits, obviously, issued permits are up, trending up, which is good for the township. And it's interesting to look at the geographics where those permits are clustered. Also, there is quite a bit of discussion about ordinances. That's why I previously mentioned the ordinance review by Rand, if there was any recommendations. But the ordinance getting the greatest attention right now, obviously, as this board knows, and in particular, Mr. Chair, you know, is dock enforcement ordinance. That said, the other observation is that in the board pack was a annual review for the 2020 operations year for the Addison Township Fire Department. I think that that report was well written. It has year-over-year comparisons and figures. We've seen the report. It also mentions goals, long-term goals, short-term objectives, and there's a brief narrative provided for each function. And the report is not voluminous. It's a short report. I haven't asked yet, but my assumption is that perhaps a summary report is available for the township in previous years, and especially the year just concluded. But the purpose of my commenting is, I think that 2020 report, which was prepared and submitted by the fire chief with the help of his staff and team, was excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other Addison Township board reports?
The Planning Commission did recommend approval for the library with some conditions, so hopefully we'll be seeing that soon.
Very good.
I'll do a real quick one about the cemetery because I know Linda's very interested. So it's been a couple of years the board directed to see how we can expand our cemetery. I've been checking with some of the engineers, actually surveyors, One, they're very, very busy, and two, they don't really want to mess with cemeteries. So I did receive a phone call from a funeral home in Clarkston, and I started talking with them because they're connected. So anyway, she told me to take a ride out to Independence Township, which I did, and I sent all of you pictures of what they recently did. They cut out the middleman. They purchased through Canada. They said they received a break for purchasing 5. Each unit holds 96. So we've already increased the cemetery's life by 5 years. So what I'm thinking of doing is I will try to contact a few more surveyors. Like I said, I'm not having any luck. I am going to contact that company just to get a rough idea of what those would cost. They also said they use their own engineer to come up with the base, because as you can see in those pictures, it's just one base, so it saved them money as well with their engineer. So anyways, I'm slowly working on that.
Thank you.
That's it.
Anybody else? Okay, not hearing any. Okay, legal reports or communications. Do you have any?
Oh, I did bring it with me. We received one from Oakland County that is opposing the bill that is going to extend the hours for liquor, serving liquor. So Oakland County is opposing that. And I will try to make a copy of that and send it to all of the board members.
Okay, anything else? Nothing?
Yeah, can I get my closed session minutes? Before everybody takes off, I'm sorry.
What do you need?
The closed session minutes.
Okay, if we don't have anything else, then we'll go to the supervisor's report.
Which one? Take it.
So the first thing I want to say is I think it's time that this township starts looking for a single hauler garbage company. I think I've talked to Gary Walls, the supervisor of Waterford. I've talked to Chris Barnett, the supervisor of Orion. They've all gone to single haulers. We have a single hauler right now in the village of Leonard, and it works out extremely well. We kind of queried some of the people what they're paying. Some people are paying $36 a month. Some people are paying $28 a month. In Leonard, they're paying $16 a month, and that is with recycling. So I asked Gary Walls in Waterford Township what they're paying. He says it's somewhere right around the $18 with recycling. So I think it's time that maybe we start looking at a single hauler, because we've had so many calls of people in township that either can't get service or their garbage isn't being picked up. And it's been, I think one time was 2 weeks and one time was 3 weeks for one of the major garbage haulers who didn't come down and pick up garbage. Right now you have to understand, we have garbage on the streets 6 days a week. We have, I think, about 6 different garbage trucks coming through 6 days a week. They're beating up the roads. We can have one service come in one day and everybody's garbage will be out and everybody's garbage will be off. And we can save more than half. So I think it's at that time. When we had spring cleanup, we picked up an awful lot of debris that was dumped on the side of the roads. I'm sure that's because if people can't get garbage picked up and they don't want something, they find some place to dump it on the side of the road and then we pick it up. So I think that's just time, and we'll address that at a later time. I'm also going to ask that we do a brief survey with the employees for to increase on our IRAs or 401s, and that I think the township should look into, and I think we'll move forward on that. I'd also, for right now, like to give a tribute to Charles Johnson, or Chuck Johnson, one of our firemen. As people may not know, he passed away last week. He was a great guy. He's the guy that if you ever went to any of our events or fundraisers, he would always wear some kind of a costume for the kids or something like that, and he had a great sense of humor. He'll be greatly missed. He was one of the highest attendees at every fire, I think, that the fire department had. And I don't know how we'll replace him. It's unfortunate. It was one of these pandemics It takes the good ones, okay? And he was 55 years old, and he leaves his family, and they live in the township, and I believe, he has 2 kids, is that right?
Correct, he sure does.
How many children does he have?
Two, a boy and a girl, yes.
And he'll be greatly missed. I do want to say that there's going to be a memorial for him, and that is on June 5th at the Fire Hall up here on 4th Street, 4026 4th, the new Fire Hall up by Leonard. And it's going to be a drive-through procession, and if anybody would like to attend that, that would be greatly appreciated. You know, it's really hard to say goodbye to the people that you really know and you were close to and you saw all the time. Very, very hard to do that. And he was one of those guys. So, anyways, we'd like to celebrate his life.
What time is that event?
That is going to be from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
10 a.m. to 11 a.m. June 5th.
Yes. And, you know, like I said, that one hurt me for many days because I knew the man. And, you know, you always have that in your mind. And I've lost a deputy this morning who just passed away from COVID. And they had 3 more in the last 3 weeks who have also passed away. They got many of the guys I worked with. So, anyways, hopefully this is over with now.
With that note, also, I just found out today that the fire station will be hosting vaccines, actually this Friday, I think it's 1 to 4 walk-ins, or schedule an appointment with the Oakland County Health Department.
Yes,
And then 21 days later, they'll do the second shot.
yeah, and it's a drive-through. We just arranged that, so if there's anybody you know that doesn't have their shot, it's, you know, it's a walk-in. You can go there and get it. And tomorrow, you can go to the Oxford Fire Station, and it's another walk-in. So if you know anybody that hasn't been able to get it and wants it, you know, you can get it now. So
Is residency required?
Friday and tomorrow.
it's a
Tomorrow is
federal,
Oxford, Friday is us.
federal mandate.
From what
So,
time?
1 to 4.
okay, other than that, I'm looking for a motion. I just wanted to end on the tribute to, they call him Chuck, okay?
Chuckles.
Yeah, Chuckles. Yeah. I wanted to end on that note. The chief and I have talked about it many times. It's just one of those things that you just can't believe it happened, you know? But, so I'm looking for a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those, well, I guess we'll have to have a roll call, I guess, until we get clarification. Roll call on that, please.
Lloyd Fisher.
Yes.
Chuck Sargent.
Yes.
Ed Redfield.
You should say no just for the fun of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Lenny Garrett.
Yes.
Bennett, no.
Oh, we can do that.
Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, and we are adjourned. Thank you very much for being very patient. Very long agenda.